Last night, just before 9 o'clock, the police were called to the 3500 block of Varsity Drive Northwest to investigate 2 undetermined deaths. What we know right now is that we have a woman who's in her 40s and a young child, we believe at this point he's 6 years old, were found dead within the apartment. Right now the cause of death is undetermined. We have autopsies scheduled for later on today, which will help determine the cause of death. Our major crimes homicide unit has been called out to investigate, and that's kind of where we're at right now. We're early on in the investigation. We're talking to witnesses. We aren't looking for any suspects at this point, and we're just trying to determine exactly what happened, what the timelines were, and what we need to be looking at from here on in.
Can you talk about the 911 call that was made? Who made it? Where it came from?
Yeah, the original call was made by the father of the young child and the husband of the woman that was in the home. And when we got there, we found indicators that would lead us to believe that there could possibly be carbon monoxide in the house. We called CFD out, the fire department out, and they determined that there were high levels of carbon monoxide in the house. They did have to smash some windows out to help air it out. Whether that is the cause of death or not, we're not sure, and we won't know, like I said, until after the autopsy.
You also said in the release that there were some indications that this was a suicide, so can you at all speak to those indications?
Well, I mean, with any major investigation, we develop theories, and that is certainly the murder-suicide theory is certainly something we're looking at. We can't conclude that for sure until we get some more information, because it's still very early on in the investigation. And like I say, that is a piece that we're looking at. We aren't in a position yet to say that that's exactly what we're dealing with, but we are leaning that way, and we'll know a whole lot more after the autopsy is completed.
How's the father doing?
The father's very distraught. We called out our victim assistance support team to help the father and other family members deal with this and provide support for them.
Was it just the 3 of them that lived in that unit?
That's my understanding. I mean, we're looking into a lot of things about who was living there, and like I said, timelines associated to it all. At this point, that's my understanding is there was just the 3 of them there.
Does the father have any sort of support network? I mean, we're being told by neighbors there was a fair bit of a language barrier with the couple.
That's a good question. You know what? I don't have any information on what his extended support network is at this stage.
Do you know if they were new to Canada?
No, I don't know. I don't know what their history in Canada is. I know that they certainly weren't on our radar for anything at this point. I mean, we are looking deeper into that possibility as well, but there was nothing jumping out at us about this family.
Was the mother and son found together?
Good question, and I don't know the answer to that.
If we can just clarify, it was just before 10.
What did I say? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. It was it was about 9:45 when we got called.
What happens from here in terms of the investigation?
Well, I mean, obviously, a key piece is the autopsy. We're still at the stage where we're processing the house forensically, because we're treating this as a major crime scene, and we're treating it like any other major crime scene, any other homicide type scene, where we have to process the house forensically. We have to wait for the autopsy. So right now we're holding that scene, and that's where we're at right now. We have interviewed the father, especially since he was the first one to call us. And like I said, we aren't looking for any suspects at this point. So we're waiting for those other pieces to fall into place. And then we should have a little bit more to offer after the autopsy is completed.
How old are the mom and dad?
I don't know how old the father is. I know that the mother's in her 40s.
You said the son was 6? Or
right.
We've heard 7.
Yeah, he was 6.
I haven't been to the scene, but is there an attached garage to the condo?
I don't think there is.
Is there any obvious signs of manipulation of carbon monoxide?
Well, you know what, at this point I can say that that's forming part of the investigation, so I'm not at liberty to disclose that necessarily, but I will say this, is that there were indicators at the scene that led us to believe that carbon monoxide could be present. You can't smell it, obviously, but it caused us some concern, so that's why we called the fire department in. They tested, they found high levels of carbon monoxide.
What's being offered in terms of support for people who knew this couple, but I guess in particular with the child, I guess grief counselors are coming?
Yeah, you know, obviously the child attended a school. The Calgary Board of Education has been contacted. We have our own network of officers that work with the schools. We're going to be working with their grief counselors on this to give them the best information possible so they can prepare and deal with their children within the school system.
Can we say the name of the school or not yet?
Yeah, I'm not, you know what, I don't think that'd be a good idea at this point.
Just to clarify, the 911 call came from within the house?
You know, I don't know if it came from within the house. I do know that it was the father that called us.
But was that after he had entered the house? And
That was after, yes, that's right.
And just to clarify, you've never been there before, there were never issues that police were involved in?
No, nothing about that home or that residence jumped on our radar. Now, obviously, we're going to be looking a little deeper into that as the time goes on, but at first blush, there's nothing.
So no domestics that you know?
No, nothing at all.
Is there any medical history or anything that could lead you to murder-suicide theory?
Well, like I said, we have developed a theory. That's just one theory that we're looking at, and that's I mean, like I say, everything's on the table right now. We're leaning toward that, but we've been surprised before. So we're waiting for the whole investigation to play out before we draw any firm conclusions on what it is.
Was there a note found?
Not that I'm aware of.